Today I got 3 things to talk about. Just the microphone here. I love using the microphone. Why not? Got one. So first, I did get my Vo2Max of 80 today. Wasn't that hard. Took yesterday off. It's a rest day. Figured, had to take one. And I ended up eating so much that, I had 2 big breakfasts. And then I decided to work outside, polish my steps, pressure washing, all that fun stuff. A lot of fun. It's actually a lot of work, but fun. Yeah. So the ride today, I did 2 rides today. The first, I went outside and you can see I'll post it at the end so you can see the flood. So I went out to Sausalito near Mike's Bikes. There's a bike path there. I talked about it before, how it was going to be flooded today. Yeah, it's flooded under a foot of water. See, I'll show you. It looks like a big ocean there. Wow. Big bay anyway. So I'll just put some raw video there. I was chatting with some people, looking at it. No bikes going through. And then I came home and did my indoor ride, which was a lot of fun. So yeah, I got my Vo2Max. So this was during noon. You see, probably could see that. I don't know. You see, there's just average watts, 200, still 227 watts. And then we look at, that's a summary. I want to show you this. Time in zone. Come on. Time in zone. Okay, so my heart rate zones today. You can see mostly just zone 3, no zone 4, no zone 5. That's just because on this Garmin, my heart rate went up to 224 many times, and so it threw off all my heart rate zones. But I fixed that, my heart rate anyway. And I did a video on that, but nobody cares. But I did fix it. But let me show you the power zones. So the power zones, okay, so there we go. So you can see it's mostly zone 4, a lot of zone 3, a little bit of zone 5. I'm going to try to get more zone 5 in there. But I didn't do any intervals today. It's just the Vo2Max workout. So let's return here. And we have my stats. Okay, my stats. Bing. So 80. 80. Of course, the train load's low because I didn't take, I don't take this outside. I have a Wahoo that I use. So the Garmin doesn't know everything. Nah. But you might think that's, a little crazy, to ride that hard, maybe. But I have a purpose to do that. So I also got my blood tests. That's number 2. So I'll show you the blood results now. Okay, so here we go. So first, this was the ride today. You can see this. This is the city here, the Golden Gate Bridge. It's pretty deserted. There's, nobody out there. Can't even see the East Bay. It's just gone. You can't see the Bay Bridge. Big boat going. Okay, so this is my blood work. And, okay, so it always starts with the cardiovascular health because that's, what kills everybody. And so this is the latest one here, and then this was the previous one. So this was end of October 2024. And for some reason, they don't put it on one download. I don't know why. They should. It's easier to compare. But I'll just switch back and forth just to make a few points here. So as you can see, my total cholesterol is still pretty high, 246. Should be under 200. That's all because of my LDL, it says here. But this isn't the real problem. As I'll show you here. Okay, so here we are at the lipid particles. Now, this is something that most of you have never tested for. So this demonstrates my, genetic problem that you can't be fixed. And if you look this up, LDL particle number, in that summer 2000. Last year, you can see it was a little over 2,000. This year, about the same, a little bit lower. Probably within error 3. Yeah, it's pretty much the same. I don't know what the error rate is for calculating this. Doesn't really matter. But this is basically a death sentence here. There's nothing you can do for it. And so it's associated with like a 95 percentile chance of a heart attack. Way up there. Hasn't been really studied much, but there's a big correlation. And this is interesting here. So I posted this before, but you can see this is my LDL pattern is B, which is associated with higher risk for chronic disease, right? But last year, A. Your pattern is A. So the AI can make mistakes, and it does. This is one of them that they made last year. But I knew it was a mistake because I already knew what this was from prior tests. And this is why I have to work so hard to prove, the doctor's wrong. Because this is basically, a death sentence here. So that's the lipid particles. Most of you don't need to check this. I only checked it because I suspected I had this problem. And you can see my ApoB is still high, 122. It should be under 80. This is what causes the damage to the arteries. So most of you just have to test, if you want to test this, you just test your ApoB. You don't really need to test all this stuff if you don't want. Luckily, my inflammation is good. My homocysteine is still high. Last year, it was a little lower. See, homocysteine. See, it was 11.8 last year. And the only things, I did change this year was I added the TMG, but I also lowered my folate because my folate last year was off the charts. They couldn't even calculate it. So I lowered it, so now it's normal. My folate's normal. But my homocysteine went up a little bit. Don't know how important that is, but this is an indicator of if you have high homocysteine, you could get like Alzheimer's. So I've been working on that. Insulin, pretty good. HbA1c, a little high this year. Last year it wasn't so high. 5.7 to 5.8, so I was right. It's basically the same. My IR it's 1.0 this year. Not bad. Right on the cusp here. Last year was a little higher. Yeah, 1.4. So it went down a little bit. And so the only other thing I really changed this year for this test was no alcohol for the whole month. And on this year, the previous year, I had like a glass of wine even before, the night before, just to test everything out. And everything else here is pretty normal. Everything here is pretty normal. These all stayed the same. TSH, see, this year is 2.7. Went up a little bit from 2.4. So keep an eye on that. Okay, now we have the reproductive hormones. Okay, this will be sort of interesting. So my SHBG is always a little high, 87 this year. Went up to 76 last year. Estradiol was 22. They have estradiol? Huh, it's not here. Huh, I took it off. Changed it with this, I don't know why. Huh. Yeah. But my total testosterone and my free testosterone, I think both went up this year. Total 680 last year. Is that 818? What is that? Oh, that's a total went way up from last year to this year. So from 680 to 818. Wow. The total. And the free went up from 61.3 to 64.7. Interesting. And I'm older now, so it doesn't necessarily go down, but this is something that varies during the day, but I do take it basically in the morning for all the tests, because you have to fast. So I take them early in the morning. So basically the same time. But they vary. It's not like you could check it all the time. And my liver, okay, my liver's doing pretty good. You see everything's here, all normal. Right on the edge here. Total bilirubin, 1.2, right on the edge. But everything else is looking pretty good. Let's see, last year. Yeah. AST was a little high last year, but within range. I mean, 36, 35 is, the range here. So it was pretty close. Everything was pretty good. This a little lower, bilirubin 1.1 to 1.2. So just very close. Okay, and you can see because I do take creatine every day. And so the creatinine hasn't gone up at all. Still the same. 0.9. My blood urea nitrogen went up from 10 to 15. Looks more normal now, I guess. All the ratios look good. Everything looks good here. And they all look good last year. So then we go into more fun stuff here. Okay, the platelet count, I think, changed a bit. Yeah, from 277, to 270. No, stayed the same. Exactly the same. White cell count, a little low. 4.5 to 4.2. It's probably pretty good. Everything here looks pretty good. Yeah. Basophils, absolute basophils. Oh, yeah. Here's something interesting. So let's look at, my red blood count this year was 4.8. See, red blood count, where is that? Fibrogen plate. There it is. 4.6. So 4.8 to 4.6. So a little bit more red blood this year. Hemoglobin 15.7. So that went up. And also my hematocrit went up. So last year, it's usually around 40, 40, low 40s. It's been that way for a decade. But this year, went up 46.6. And one of the things I did do more of this year was more heat training. I have no idea if that helped, but I wear all my warm-up clothes like I did today and really try to get hot. So anyway, it's gone up. It's gone up. That's a good sign, I suppose. So keep an eye on that. Vitamins. Yeah, see, now this is my folate. You see, 21.8. normal range. Yeah, indeterminate folate last year. That's all they said, indeterminate folate. They didn't have any description of what that was. Because the previous year in 2023, they said, oh, increase your folate, to try to affect your homocysteine. And it probably did, but it was too high, I think. I couldn't sleep. And as soon as I saw this, I realized that's why I couldn't sleep. And I realized I just stopped the folate for a while. Okay, and you can see my vitamin D, even though I get a lot of sun every day. So last year it was 21. The normal range 40 to 99. Yeah, I've never been able to get above out of the 20s, no matter how much vitamin D I take. And so that's when I almost killed me one year at the beginning. That's because I always tried. First thing I tried to do is increase my vitamin D, and the doctors double my vitamin D and everything. And then this year, down to 16. But this is December, and you really can't get vitamin D from the sun right now. So I am starting to take a little bit of vitamin D every day. But it won't go that high. And I don't have any, indication that I have a deficiency of vitamin D. This is a genetic thing. And you have to realize, see, this test here, it tests for the inactive form of vitamin D here, not the active form of calcitriol. And I also have no body fat, very little. So this is a fat-soluble vitamin or hormone. And so I can't store it. And of course, my magnesium, everything's doing good. Magnesium. Calcium went up a little bit. Last year it was 9.8. So this is why I keep tabs on how much vitamin D I take. Because if you don't do it right, or at least for me, my calcium will go way out. And then you end up with a heart attack. So I've realized I didn't take enough K2 this year. So I'm increasing my K2 in my natto. And you can see my chloride and potassium and sodium is always low. I mean, not low, but even this year it's even lower. So because I sweat so much. And so I can increase my salt without worrying. And my blood pressure is normal, 120/80, usually a little lower or a little higher, it's right there. So I'm going to increase it. And my iron's doing good, which is nice. So everything's doing good here. Okay, my omegas. I could still increase my omegas. So I did have to switch my supply of omegas because I ran out. That's tough to get them. So I was a little bit better last year. And this is what was causing my heart rate of 224, as far as I could tell from the studies I read. So I increased. One year it said, they put a warning here saying imminent risk of sudden cardiac death because it was way down here. So I got it way back up. But it's tough to keep it up. I mean, because I don't eat meat or fish or anything. So this year is a little lower. Folks. That's it. So that's my blood test. Yeah. So that's why I have to exercise so much. Because of nobody else, I don't think, has, the same cardiac issues that I do. My chicken's right there. Right? So it's not something you guys have to worry about. How's my beard doing? This light makes it look a little grayer. It's not that gray. Huh. Yeah. So that's why I have to exercise so much. Try to prove the doctors wrong. Because really it's just like a death sentence, right? To have this, because It's not something you could ever take medication for. Lifestyle isn't going to fix it. So just one of the things I had to, deal with. Try to live. So now I'll post the clip from the ride today so you can see how flooded it was. Add it on to the end. Yeah. Have fun.